Before I begin, money, money, money. We all know it, we all love it. I believe it's the good book which says, Ecclesiastes chapter 6. Money is what makes the world go round. But interesting enough, in that same good book, actually my namesake, Timothy chapter 6 says, money is the root of all evil. So it seems like we are all going to a very hot hell. I don't know. Although with this cold, it seems it's very tempting, somewhere a bit heated. But yes, that is money. Before I begin, I think it just makes sense that we actually understand what is money. Because we can say we have been working with money, we have been hustling for money, but what is money? It's a store of value, although not the best store of value, actually. I think probably a better store of value in these inflationary times is the price of petrol. I think that is probably a better store of value. A unit of account, a bit debatable. Medium of exchange, I think that's why it has succeeded. It is one of the oldest inventions that is there. Started off with barter trade. And now where are we? We are all here because this world has already started on its digital revolution. So this here is history. It's in the process of being eradicated. And what is the next step? Digitization of money. And how do we digitize money? Central bank digital currencies. So I remember my maths teacher, when he was teaching us algebra, he would always insist, start from first principles. And if you can't explain something to a 5-year-old child or an 8-year-old grandmother, then you don't understand that thing. So what exactly are central bank digital currencies? I don't want to give you a very long explanation, but just to state, they are universal digital central bank legal tender. What does that mean? Universal and digital, I think we already know that. M-PESA is a very good example. How many of you, by the way, use M-PESA? Good, I can see many of my customers here. I hope you only have good things to say. So what is different about now central bank digital currencies? I think the biggest difference with that is that they are now issued by as a central bank, by a government. Basically, they become legal tender. Difference from other digital currencies probably also would be their stable value, or supposedly their stable value. Personally, I question myself whenever I go shopping, and I see unga, which was previously 50 shillings, now is 3 times that. But it's what we have, and it's what will continue. As this world continues to digitize, 90% of the GDP, not 90% of the countries, mind me, 90% of the GDP of economies are discussing about a central bank digital currencies. Some have already begun on their journey. Admittedly, Kenya is slightly behind, but I don't blame it. Probably the reason why we are behind is we already have experience with digital payments. Through mobile money, maybe a bit for cards, but not so much. But still, as we continue to explore what this means for us, what benefits these are. From cybersecurity, I think we all know that if something can be stolen, it will be stolen. 50 years ago, one of the big risks that any shopkeeper had was they would be robbed. That risk is still there now. what is happening, it's transforming from physical robbery, with a gun, shoot, to digital robbery. When you look at it, however, cybersecurity actually is the grandfather of digital currencies. The first successful digital currency, I think we all know, Bitcoin, was actually started on the basis of public key cryptography. A peer-to-peer version. So basically, Satoshi, when he started this digital currency, he did not want there to be one single point of failure, including a government, which, as we can see, is a significant failure. Ask anybody here who has experienced the Zimbabwean dollar. So he wanted one peer-to-peer currency that would empower the people. That's how cybersecurity started off with the first digital currency. We are now here talking about central bank digital currencies, which are probably products of digital currencies. Litecoin, Ethereum, the likes of those. So the question is, where there are so many governments which are exploring, or which even have launched, like Nigeria, central bank currencies. Of course, they all want to jump onto the digital bandwagon. But it's more than that. Truth be told, I think there is also the matter of prestige. They don't want to be left behind. Central banks want to say, yes, we have launched something digital. We are digital natives, even if they are not. There is competition. If you don't know, each currency competes with all other currencies. And if you lose, your currency becomes weaker. So whenever you're buying or importing your Range Rover, it means you need to pay more shillings. Or if you're Russian and you want to buy international goods and your currency is winning, you need to pay less rubles. So there's an ongoing competition. And central banks want a leg up in this competition. There are many other reasons. Frictionless payments, I don't think that would apply so much for Kenya. I don't want to brag, but M-PESA, I think, already fulfills that. Inclusion, I think we are already very inclusive. But now, what is the difference between central bank digital currencies and all other digital currencies? We have cryptocurrency. In Kenya, it has been the fad until probably 2 months ago when the cryptocurrency market tanked. I was just reading the last stats. In the last 6 months or 7 months, the value of cryptocurrency has dropped by $2 trillion. I don't know how many times that is the Kenyan economy. I won't bother counting, but anyway. So that is the reason why cryptocurrency, while a speculative tool, is not probably the best medium of exchange. Maybe in the future, I don't know. It could be. It's good to be open-minded. Stable coins, I think we've heard of some. Tether is a good example. There was this other stable coin which collapsed. It was held by lunatics. Luna. But the challenges of stable coins, while stable compared to the wild, wild west of cryptocurrency, is that they are not legal tender. So central banks now and governments finally coming to the game, realizing that they need to style up, are now beginning to issue digital currencies, fully digital native currencies. But with this encroachment of technology on finance, it presents more risks. Because when we are beholden to technology, it means when our technology is down or misbehaves, it impacts our lives. It impacts our families' lives. So the question is, as people in the cybersecurity industry, what are some of the risks when we go into this digital world with digital payments? There are quite a number. I don't want to go into all of them. But the biggest ones, when you look at the end-to-end flow, is at the start and at the end. Surprisingly, in between, there are risks, but not that big. The start is where these digital currencies are held. The number of cryptocurrency exchanges which have been hacked or where money value has been lost in the last 6 months is over 8, with more than $2 billion lost. So as this increases, I know probably from a traditional perspective, banks have been hacked. You know, they say in cybersecurity, there are 2 types of companies. There are those that know they have been hacked, and there are those which don't know they have been hacked. So I don't know which one you fall in, but it's just a matter of time. With digital currencies, the risk will increase. All financial institutions will face the threat of an intrusion. And like a bank right now, if you were to rob a bank, probably you'd think of physically taking the cash, or alternatively, digitally, maybe going to the core banking system and sending money out. But with digital currency, this will increase. Of course, the other big risk is at the other end, the user. We call it layer 8 vulnerabilities. Our users, you may protect your environment, your system, but we see it even in Safaricom. The number of times when somebody after this goes for maybe 1 or 2 drinks, meets a nice lady, then before you know it, something has been added to the drink, and the person has spitted out his M-PESA PIN. So both the user, both the system, the institution is at risk. Many other ways, technology can be able to present a risk to us. What is one of the ways? There is a lot which has been spoken here, including pen testing. But from an M-PESA perspective, from a Safaricom perspective, one of the best ways that we have actually learned of securing our systems is through collaboration. Because truth be told, there is no system here which is perfect. You'll always go live with a system, then you find vulnerabilities. It's an ever-evolving whack-a-mole. Patch this system, this other one is forgotten to be patched. So for us, we have partnered with hackers, white hat researchers out there, to be able to identify any vulnerabilities which are there. And as we speak right now, these figures are a bit old. As we speak right now, we have spent over $300,000 since 2018 when the Safaricom Bug Bounty was launched, the first in Eastern and Central Africa, paying white hat hackers for all vulnerabilities which are out there. And mind you, we have a full-time cybersecurity team which is also doing this, which is also reviewing the system. But there are very, very many vulnerabilities which are leaked through the cracks, which go through to production. So how does that affect central bank digital currencies? Remember, this is public. This has a public impact. Whatever central bank digital currencies out there, there'll be weaknesses, there'll be vulnerabilities. And it's important for the central banks and governments to partner and collaborate with the wider public to identify what other vulnerabilities they might have missed out on. Because you know what? People out there will definitely discover those vulnerabilities, and they'll exploit them. truth be told. But then, what other risks are there? I think probably the biggest risk, or second biggest risk, is privacy. Let me ask you, would you use a digital currency if KRA could track all your payments? If there's anybody from KRA, they need to do an audit for the people around there. Probably some people have not paid their taxes. By the way, I think the deadline was tomorrow. So if you have not filed your returns, please, don't even continue with my presentation. just go out there and fill your annual tax returns. But then, I think probably looking at the other digital currencies which have been launched, I know there is a lot of fear in terms of what the government would be able to track. So for its success, it's imperative, not only from a security side, but to be able to allow people to actually adopt central bank digital currencies, that privacy is guaranteed. One of the biggest challenges that M-PESA has had, local challenges that M-PESA has had, is, I don't know if any of you have gone to Isli. It's a very thriving economy there. For instance, this shirt, I actually bought it there. But one of the challenges whenever you go there is that there is a fear of taking payments through M-PESA. It's unfortunate. There is a fear of taking payments through M-PESA. There is a perception that if I pay someone with M-PESA, the government is watching. It's not true. And therefore, they fear, they like hard cash, this old cash. For the success of any technology, the consumer needs to come first. Same thing with central bank digital currencies. So if I was asked, is it the future of our digital economy? I don't know. I'm not a genie in a bottle. But it has a lot of potential. There are different models that can be used to adopt central bank digital currency. But whatever model is chosen, it has to be secure, has to put the consumer first, and has to be sustainable. Thank you for listening. And when I go back to money, I'd hope one day my kids will not know what this is.
You should be at the center of attraction, literally.